So good evening, students.
Good
Students, can you
evening.
respond? Yeah, okay. So how's your lockdown going on? Can you all see me?
Yes.
Can you see my screen also?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So today we are going to see one portion of the chapter called life processes. Okay. So do you know what is life processes? What is the name of this name of this title? Life processes. Anybody?
The processes which together perform this maintenance work and are essential for sustaining life are called life processes.
Very good. So processes that are essential for sustainability of the life, okay, to maintain the life. What are the process that could maintain the life includes the breathing, respiration, excretion, nutrition, digestion. All these are processes which keep all living organisms alive. Am I right? For any organisms to be live, all these processes need to happen. That is what we are going to study today, and I'm going to start off with the introduction part. As you see here, do you see a person here called Mr. Bean? Yeah, do you see here Mr. Green? Any idea who this Mr. Green is? Yeah, don't write on the screen. Any idea who this Mr. Green is?
Chlorophyll.
Anybody?
Chlorophyll. Chlorophyll.
Mm-hmm.
Chlorophyll.
Chlorophyll. Mr. Green is chlorophyll, is it? Okay, so I have given you the hint here, which is characteristics of living organisms. Do you see?
Plants.
Okay, it is characteristic of living organism. I'll tell you what is Mr. Green. M stands for movement. Okay, M stands for movement. R stands for respiration. Now, can you tell me what are the rest of the things? G stands for growth.
R stands for respiration.
Respiration.
R stands for respiration. G stands for growth. And this second R stands for
Nutrition.
reproduction. Yeah, reproduction. Okay. And this E stands for excretion. And this E stands for environmental response. Environmental response. And this N stands for nutrition. Guys, are you all clear? This is a short form to describe all the characteristics of living things. Only when any organism performs all these 7 characteristics, then we consider that as a living thing. Okay, if any one is missing, then it cannot be considered as a living thing. As you take movement, okay, movement is seen in all types of organisms. Okay, now you can ask me, ma'am, plants are not moving, then how do we classify plants as living things? Am I right? Do you guys have question in your mind? Plants do not move, right? But still plants are considered as living thing. It is just because it is not typically moving from um, one point to other point, but it shows the movement in terms of the transport inside the cell and transport within the plant structure. Like if you take, roots are absorbing water from the soil and water is moving upward to reach the shoot tip also and leaf tip also. Okay, that is considered as movement because molecules and particles are moving. If it is living thing only, then movement is possible. If it is a non-living thing, this kind of movement is not possible. Am I clear to all? Any doubts? Okay, so as I mentioned, the second one is respiration. Now can anyone tell me what respiration is all about? What is respiration? What is respiration? Okay. Mostly students tell me that respiration is breathing. We take in oxygen and we give out carbon dioxide, which is referred as respiration. Am I right?
Ma'am.
Is that correct? But technically speaking, respiration is a different term and breathing is a different term. I'll tell you how they are differing. Okay. So respiration is actually a physiological process, whereas breathing is a physical process. Okay. Breathing is a physical process. Okay. Respiration is a physiological process. Okay, I'll tell you what is breathing. Breathing is just gaseous exchange. When you exchange carbon dioxide and oxygen, taking in oxygen and giving out carbon dioxide, that gaseous exchange is considered as breathing. Okay, and what do we do, and what do our body cells do with the oxygen is called respiration. So what it does, what our body cells are doing with with the oxygen that are taken inside, they are trying to convert the nutrients to energy. Okay, so the conversion of nutrients to energy with the help of oxygen is called respiration. Am I clear to you all? Can I repeat it once again? Okay, I'll repeat. Okay, breathing is a physical process which includes only gaseous exchange. Like through our nose and through our nostrils, we are taking in oxygen and we are releasing carbon dioxide. That physical process is called breathing. But respiration is a physiological process where, with the oxygen that we take in, our body cells will convert the nutrients into energy with the help of that oxygen. And the process by which the nutrients are converted to energy with the help of oxygen is called respiration. Am I clear? Am I clear? Okay.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
let me move on with the next term called G, which is growth. So how do we define growth? Every living organism show growth, right? It shows growth. Okay.
Change in physical state.
Change in,
Physical state.
okay, physical state, is it? What do you mean by physical state?
Physical appearance. Change in physical appearance.
Perfect. Change in physical appearance is kind of acceptable. Okay. Some organisms, they don't grow much. Some unicellular organisms, like if you take bacteria,
Amoeba.
bacteria doesn't grow much. Okay. Amoeba, yes. Perfect. Amoeba doesn't grow much. Okay. But still it shows growth in terms of its cell mass. Okay. What is cell mass?
Weight of the cell.
Weight
Okay.
of the cell.
So again, another clarification here. Mass is different, weight is different. You'll be studying this in physics. Okay, mass is totally different and weight is totally different. Mass is the inner content or inner composition. Whatever is present inside any given substance, that is called mass. If I talk about cell has all proteins, fats, carbohydrates, everything contained within its cell membrane and cell wall. Okay, whatever is contained inside, I call everything together as cell mass. Okay, what do I call it as cell weight is that how much the mass is pulled by the gravitational force. That is called weight. But both have got the same unit called kilogram. Okay, don't get confused. So cell mass is the inner component or inner composition of any cell. Okay, so if you take amoeba will double its protein content or double its cytoplasmic content, and that is considered as growth for amoeba. Like for human, if you take, we are growing from a small baby to an adult. Okay, that is a promising growth. Okay, so next R is reproduction. So who can Who can define what is reproduction?
Giving birth to the young ones.
Okay, giving birth to the young ones which are identical to the parent. Okay, which are identical to the parent. That is reproduction. So next thing, why do we need reproduction? Why do all living things need to reproduce?
In order to continue their own.
Excellent. In order to continue their own kind. Otherwise, the species cannot sustain. Okay, after one generation, the species would become extinct. There won't be any species. Like if we don't give birth to babies, humankind cannot survive. Okay, so for the survival ability of the living organisms need to reproduce, and reproduction is the process by which an organism can give rise to its own kind. Okay, so next is E, which is excretion. So what is excretion?
Removing the
Removal
unwanted
of
things from our
harmful
body.
metabolic waste from the body of an organism.
Again, super. So excretion is a process by which harmful and metabolic waste are removed from our body. Okay, and
Yes.
again, I wanted to be more precise on the definition part. Excretion doesn't include the solid waste. Okay, it
It's
doesn't
also liquid. Include on liquid base.
Yes, it only includes liquid and gaseous waste. It doesn't include solid waste. Okay, just be
Yes,
clear.
ma'am.
It doesn't include solid waste. Solid waste comes under the nutrition part where we digest and we eliminate the solid waste through anal opening. That is totally different. But excretion is confined only to the liquid waste and the gaseous waste. Okay, so what are the liquid waste that we are sending out of our body?
Sweat.
One is urine.
Sweat.
Yeah, one is urine.
Sweat.
Sweat. Perfect. So
Sebum.
one is urine. Sebum. Okay. Okay. So excellent. I really like the session because you guys are so interacting. Okay. So excretion includes liquid waste, and these liquid waste include urine formation and sweat formation and sebum. Okay.
And
So
then
that is liquid waste. Okay. What about gaseous waste? Which is considered a gaseous waste? Which is considered as gaseous waste? It's nothing but carbon dioxide. Okay, carbon dioxide is also considered as gaseous waste, which is eliminated from our body through lungs. Am I clear to you all?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So next is environmental response. How do organisms respond to an environmental stimulus? Environmental response. Okay. If somebody is trying to slap you, okay, what you'll do? Immediately you'll move back, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Right? This is kind of a response that we are giving to the stimulus. What is the stimulus in this example? A person trying to slap is the stimulus, and we are trying to push our body away voluntarily or involuntarily, and that is considered as the response. Okay, if I'm trying to touch any object that is very hot, okay, when I take my fingertips closer to the hot object, I can sense the hotness of the object. Immediately I don't touch the object, I'll take it off. Okay, that is another environmental response.
Precaution.
Yeah, what do you mean by precaution? Yeah,
which can
come on, elaborate. Talk to me, no problem.
வருமுன் காப்பம் அந்த மாதிரி சொல்றது.
Okay, precaution is fine. நம்ம வந்து நம்ம அஃபெக்ட் ஆகிறதுக்கு முன்னாடியே வந்து ப்ரொடெக்ட் பண்ணிக்கிறதுங்கிறது கரெக்ட். பட் தட் இஸ் நாட் என்வாயர்மெண்டல் ரெஸ்பான்ஸ். ரெஸ்பான்ஸ்னால எப்படின்னா ஒரு ஸ்டிமுலஸ் இருக்கணும், அந்த ஸ்டிமுலஸ்க்கு தான் நம்ம ரெஸ்பாண்ட் பண்ண முடியும். இப்ப வந்து ரொம்ப கோல்டா இருக்கு, ஜோன்னு மழை பெய்யுறது, ஸோ என்வாயர்மெண்ட் வந்து கம்ப்ளீட்டா கோல்ட் ஆயிருது. அப்ப நம்ம பாடி எப்படி அதுக்கு ரியாக்ட் ஆகும்? நம்மளோட பாடி டெம்பரேச்சர் வில் ஷூட்
ஹீட்டா ரியாக்ட் ஆகும்.
வெரி குட். ஸோ நம்ம பாடி கெட் ஹீட்டட் அப், நம்மளோட பாடி டெம்பரேச்சர் ரைஸ் ஆகும். எதுக்காக ரைஸ் ஆகுது? டு அகாமடேட் த கோல்டர் டெம்பரேச்சர். அதர்வைஸ் நம்ம பாடியில இருக்கிற என்சைம்ஸ் அண்ட் புரோட்டீன்ஸ் வில் நாட் ஃபங்க்ஷன்.
அஃபெக்ட் ஆகிறதுக்கு வாய்ப்பு இருக்கு மேம்.
அஃபெக்ட் ஆகிறதுக்கு சான்சஸ் இருக்கு. அதை ப்ரொடெக்ட் பண்றதுக்காக when colder climate is there, our body will increase the body temperature. That is the response. இங்க stimulus எது? The cold temperature is the stimulus. Okay, so are you guys comfortable in English or Tamil, or
Ma'am, I
shall I
don't know
mix it up?
Tamil, ma'am.
Yeah, please.
Ma'am, I don't know Tamil.
And that's fine, that's fine, I'll repeat it. Okay, yeah. So next thing is N,
Yes,
which is
யாரா அது?
nutrition.
ஆமாண்டா சரி எவ்வளவு வருஷம்டா
Okay, guys, enough chit chatting. Listen to the class. N is nutrition. So what is nutrition?
When proteins,
the proteins are
contain
which gives us
body.
Which are need for the growth.
Okay, only proteins. We take only proteins, is it?
Not
Carbohydrates,
vitamins, stamina,
vitamins.
and
fats.
helpful for the human growth.
Okay, nutrition is actually the material or component that gives us energy. In very simple term,
Helpful
Okay.
for body
Nu-
growth.
yes, it helps. It gives energy and it provides all the nutrients required for our body to grow and develop. Okay, and it is also essential for fighting
Okay.
against any disease. To fight against any disease, nutrition is essential for fighting against any disease. Can you give me some example? Like in this given corona case, okay, corona situation, which can protect us? Only our immune system, right? When
ma'am.
we are having good immunity, we can fight against virus. Okay, how do we improve our immunity? How
By
can we
eating good
improve our
food,
immunity?
eating healthy food and exercising or yoga. That's like what things that gives body to focus on health.
Excellent point. Okay, I agree with you. So
The
how do we
food that gives
maintain?
more nutrients.
Okay, we need to eat balanced food and we need to
Food.
eat those foods
All the
which can,
nutrition foods.
yes,
Nutrition
so those,
foods.
okay, fine. So those foods which can improve our immunity, we need to choose them and we need to eat. Only then our immunity will improve and we can easily fight against the disease. Okay, so this is all about introduction, guys, and let me move on to the next slide. Okay, just 1 minute. Can you please erase all your drawings? Okay, now are you clear with Mr. Green? Okay, so this is the differences between living thing and non-living thing. As we all know, living things can move. Okay,
Non-living
even
things
though,
cannot move.
yes, even though we have different types of movement. What are the different types of movement, you know?
If we
Like
have
some
feeling, they
organisms,
cannot be feel. We
The
have
some
body
organisms,
moves and muscular moves.
Amount of molecules and
Okay.
muscles.
Yes,
Okay,
we have
very
feeling
good.
and they cannot be feel.
Okay, there are different types of movement. I'll tell you. One is slithering, one crawling. Okay, crawling, walking. Okay, flying. All these are movement, right? Different types of movement. Sliding. Okay, all these are different types of movement. And next is nutrition. Living things need nutrition to survive, but non-living things, they don't need anything. Okay, you take the wooden log. Wooden log doesn't need anything to grow. They don't have any necessity to feed on. They don't need any energy. Okay, non-living things like the furniture made of wood which was living earlier and now they are dead, they don't need any nutrition. And next, living things excrete, because whatever we eat, we need to metabolize and we need to remove all the metabolic waste from our body, and that is excretion, which is essential for living things, which is not necessary for non-living things. And growth is a promising and characteristic feature of any living thing. There is no living thing without growth. Okay, only when growth is happening, then the living thing can sustain, can can live for longer time. If there is no growth, then the species will die, and then the organism will die. Okay, and next is respiration, which is given with a hyphen called breathing, and these two are two different terms with two different definitions. I already explained you. And respiration is seen in living things, and there is no respiration in non-living thing. Reproduction is done by living things, and non-living things do not reproduce. And sensitivity is what I talked about, the environmental response. Okay, we have sense organs, right? We can sense all the changes that happen around us. There is no sensory organs for living things. Any doubts?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any
Ma'am.
doubts? Yeah, please ask me. Please ask me if you have any doubts, otherwise I'll move on to the next slide. Fine. So let me continue with the definition of nutrition. As I mentioned, nutrition is essential for giving us energy required for body growth and development, required to fight against the any viral infections or bacterial infections, and it is required for body repair process. Okay, I mentioned about this body repair. Yeah. I'll explain. Okay, I'll finish this nutrition introduction and then I'll come back to the process of nutrition. Okay, guys, listen. Okay, so nutrition is required for body repair mechanism. Repair mechanism meaning if you had accidentally cut your finger. Okay, there will be a wound for some time, and after some time, if you see, yeah, it will bleed, and after some time, if you see, there will be a new skin covering. There won't be any scar, there won't be any wound, right? That is called repairing mechanism. If any accidental damage happened to our tissues, our body has the mechanism to repair itself.
It is like
Okay, our body has the mechanism to repair itself, right? For that repairing mechanism, we need to eat properly. Okay, when you go to doctor, they will ask you to eat food and then take medicine. Okay, that is just because food will give you enough energy for repair mechanism. Okay, next is nutrition. There are three processes involved in nutrition. One is ingestion, digestion and addition. Okay, ingestion meaning we are eating food, right? Yes, engulfing food through mouth is called ingestion. Okay, ingestion is eating food through mouth is called ingestion. If you take human being, if I have to define ingestion for human being, then I would say eating food through mouth is called ingestion. And then digestion happens inside our digestive system, where food after entering into mouth, partial digestion happens inside mouth, because our salivary glands will secrete saliva, and that saliva contains salivary amylase enzymes. These enzymes will mix up with the food and it tries to digest food partially. That partial digestion happens inside mouth. Okay, that partially digested food will go through esophagus and it reaches stomach, and in stomach we have HCl, hydrochloric acid. Hydrochloric acid mixes with the food, and pancreatic juice and bile juice mix up with the food, and that completes the digestion. And once the digestion is over and our body has absorbed all the nutrients from the taken food, all metabolic waste or all solid waste are removed out of the body by the process called digestion. So for nutrition, for obtaining nutrition, we need three processes. We need to take food through mouth. That process is called ingestion. And after that, we need to digest the food by the process called digestion. Okay. And third, after
we should
digestion,
remove our solid waste.
Excellent. So after digestion, all metabolic waste or solid waste need to be removed out of the body by the process called digestion. Am I clear to you all?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So how do organisms grow? Okay. How do organisms grow? For ensuring
Nutritions.
growth, yeah, for ensuring growth, they need food. Basically, they need nutrients. And what are the basic nutrients we have in food?
Like
Fats,
water.
carbohydrates, and
Carbohydrate,
protein.
proteins,
Protein,
fats.
Yes.
the
So
fat,
if you look at, yeah, if you look at here, fats, carbohydrates, proteins, which are giving rise to energy. How do they release
Carbohydrates.
energy? Yeah, how do they release energy?
by breaking down into smaller particles.
Excellent. So fat will be broken into amino acids. Okay? Amino acids are building blocks for fats.
Yes, ma'am.
Clear? For carbohydrates, glucose. Glucose is the building block. Okay? For protein, sorry, I think I just mixed this one. So fats,
Glucose.
no. Fats, it would be, fatty acids and glycerol. Okay, glycerol is the alcohol. Okay, proteins or amino acids. Proteins or amino acids, and carbohydrates, they are made of sugars like glucose. Okay, fats will be converted to their respective fatty acids and glycerol. Carbohydrates will be converted to glucose, and proteins
Glucose
will be
and proteins.
converted to amino
Amino
acids.
acid.
Yes, but this reaction doesn't happen in one step. It is going to happen in series of steps, like one after the other. The reactions will happen, and gradually they will release energy. Okay, and these reactions are generally called redox reactions. Okay, do you know what is redox reaction?
Oxidation and
Yes.
happen.
Okay. In the same reaction, both oxidation and reduction is happening. So again, what is oxidation?
Releasing oxygen.
Okay. In
Gain
terms of electrons, can you tell me in terms of electrons? Oxidation is the loss of electrons. Okay, when any chemical loses electron, then I would say it is oxidized. Okay, when any chemical is gaining electrons, then I would say they are reduced. Okay, so in lower classes you would have studied oxidation is addition of oxygen or removal of hydrogen. Reduction is addition of hydrogen or removal of oxygen.
Of oxygen.
That is like a 6th or 7th grade definition. But now you are in grade 10, right? You need to study in terms of subatomic particles like electrons. Like oxidation is the loss of electron. When any substance loses electron, then I would say it is oxidized. When any substance gain electron, then I would say it is reduced. Okay, so as I mentioned, when carbohydrates like starch, okay, if our body is metabolizing starch, if I'm eating starch and digesting starch, starch will be gradually converted to glucose, and in series of steps it will release energy through oxidation reduction reactions. Am I clear to you all?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now let me go to the next slide. So why do we need energy? Molecular movement inside cells. If you take animal cell, the subatomic particles or cellular organelles can move from one point to another, for which it needs energy. Okay? And for maintaining living structures. To maintain our body, to maintain the cellular structure, all living cells need energy. And for the growth of the body and to carry out all the reactions, we need energy. Okay? So next, chemical reactions inside cell. One is oxidation and the other one is
Reduction.
reduction. Okay, these reactions use oxygen. Oxygen is very essential for carrying out this oxidation and reduction reaction. That is what is called as cellular respiration. Can anyone tell me what is cellular respiration?
Fat is coming out.
Oxygen to carry out oxidation reduction reaction.
Okay, as I told you earlier, when nutrients are taken or absorbed by our body, every cell will get nutrient. Like I have taken my breakfast and my body has digested the food. Say for example, I have taken 2 sandwiches. Okay, immediately my body digested and I got enough sugar in my body. I got glucose in my body now. All my body cells will get glucose. How do this glucose get converted into energy? Because ultimately at the end I'm going to need energy to do all the work. Like I need to take class, for which I need energy. I need to do cooking, for which I need energy. For all my day-to-day activities, I need energy. So that is why we are eating food, right? So the cell will get all the glucose and the glucose will be converted to energy with the help of oxygen through oxidation reduction reaction. And that is called cellular respiration. And that is called respiration. Now do you remember why I called respiration is different and breathing is different? Respiration is the process by which you utilize oxygen for converting nutrients into energy.
Okay.
Okay, and how does this nutrient get converted to energy? By
Breaking
a
down.
series of oxidation and reduction reaction, for which it needs oxygen. Am I clear to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Anyone has doubts on this? Manish, do you have any doubts?
No, ma'am.
Thank you. So next is modes of nutrition.
Yeah,
We have different modes of nutrition. That is what we are going to see now. If you take plants, okay, others, can you please mute your mic? Okay. So if you take nutrition in plants, that is called autotrophic nutrition. Do you know what is this term called autotrophic?
Which can make by themselves.
Perfect.
The things
What
which
it
can
makes.
food miss.
Organism
Yes,
which prepare their food.
perfect. Organisms which are capable of producing their own food.
Food.
Okay, which are capable of producing their own food.
Their
So
own
those
food.
plants have chlorophyll in their structures. They have chloroplast. Please don't write on the screen. Okay, please don't write on the screen. Yes, thank you. So autotrophic nutrition includes all plants which have chloroplast. They carry out a process called photosynthesis by which it is preparing its own food. Okay, this is what is called photosynthesis. Okay, what is the meaning of photosynthesis? Is that photo refers to sunlight, synthesis refers to the making process. Okay, so how do we define photosynthesis? By or with the help of sunlight, plants
Sunlight,
are
water,
making
and
their own food.
food.
Okay, plants are making their own food. And what do we refer to food here? What do we refer to food here?
What?
It is glucose.
Photosynthesis, glucose,
Okay, it is glucose.
energies.
Okay, it is glucose. Okay, so what plants do is that, can you please stop writing on the screen? Please remove that.
Sorry to interrupt, ma'am. மேம் உங்களுடைய ஸ்கிரீன்ல மேல வியூ ஆப்ஷன்ஸ் இருக்கும் பாருங்க.
Viewer, sir.
டாப்ல வந்து annotated இருக்கும்.
ஆமா.
Stop participants annotation இருக்கும் பாருங்க. ஒரே நிமிஷம்.
Okay, நானு பார்க்கறேன்.
ஒரே நிமிஷம்.
Okay.
லேப்டாப் வச்சிருக்காங்க.
இப்போ நீங்க ஷேர் பண்ணுங்க.
Yes, sir.
அதுல மேல டாப்ல வந்து மோர்னு ஒரு ஆப்ஷன் இருக்குல்ல மேடம்,
ஆமா.
அதுல போனீங்கன்னா
Okay, disable participants annotation.
அதை கொடுத்துருங்க. அதே மாதிரி அடுத்த இதுல வந்து ஷோ
Okay.
பார்ட்டிசிபென்ட்ஸ் நேம்னு இருக்கும் பாருங்க, யாரும் அனோட்டேட் பண்றாங்களோ அவங்களோட நேம் டிஸ்ப்ளே ஆகும்.
Okay.
அதையும் கொடுத்துருங்க. அப்படி யாராவது அனோட்டேட் பண்ணீங்கன்னா ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸ் அவங்கள வந்து வெளியே தள்ளிடுவேன். கண்டிப்பா. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. So sorry for the disturbance, guys. So we were talking about autotrophic nutrition, where plants are preparing their own food, and I'm going to explain you what is this photosynthesis. Okay, so plants are making glucose. Glucose is actually an organic molecule. Okay, organic compound. Okay, yes, or it is an organic compound. Like it is coming from inorganic molecules like carbon dioxide and water. Carbon dioxide and water are considered inorganic molecule, and glucose is considered as organic molecule. So this is simple one and this is a complex one. Now it is making glucose from inorganic molecule. It is making an organic molecule or organic compound called glucose, and formula for glucose is C6H12O6. Okay, so it is making C6H12O6 glucose from carbon dioxide and water with the help of sunlight. Without sunlight, it cannot happen because it needs enormous amount of energy to carry out this process, and that energy is available only in sun rays, and that's why it is taking help from sun rays. Okay, so sun light energy is very essential. And another thing which is very important is chlorophyll. Okay, what is this chlorophyll? Is that this chlorophyll is a green pigment that gives green color to all plants. Okay, do you know why? Yeah. Somebody raised your hand, is it? Sangeeta, do you have any doubts?
No, ma'am.
Okay, somebody raised your hand, I believe. Okay, fine. So chlorophyll is the pigment. Yeah, chlorophyll is the pigment that gives green color to the plant. Do you know why it is giving green color to the plant? Who can explain why plants are green in color?
And due to their chloroform.
It is not chloroform. It is chlorophyll. Okay, it is not just because of the presence of chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is the pigment, and if you see, white lights are differentiated into 7 colors, right? Vibgr?
Yes, ma'am.
Violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, and red. Okay, these are the 7 colors that you see in rainbow. Okay, these 7 colors are produced from white colors, right? And this chlorophyll will absorb all the other colors except green, and it is reflecting only green light. Okay, it doesn't accept or it doesn't absorb, or it doesn't absorb green light, but it absorbs all the other wavelengths of white light, and that is why, and as it is reflecting green color, all plants containing chlorophyll are green in color. Okay, and this green chlorophyll is very essential in absorbing the sunlight. This is a pigment that will receive all the sunlight and provides energy for the reaction to start. And that's how this reaction, the photosynthetic reaction, is kick-started, and it will produce glucose. Any doubt so far?
No, ma'am.
Okay, those green plants which are capable of producing their own food by the process called photosynthesis is called autotroph. Okay, they are all called autotrophs.
Autotrophs.
Okay, am I clear? So as you see,
Yes,
where
ma'am.
do you think this photosynthesis can happen?
In sunlight.
No, where
Sunlight
does it
and
happen in
water.
plant? No, where does it happen?
In
It
leaf.
happens in leaf. It happens in leaf.
Yes, leaf.
Okay? It happens in leaf. And if you see, when you cut the leaf, do you see this portion has been expanded here? Okay, I'm going to draw it here. You will have upper epidermal layer. Okay, upper epidermal layer. and then you will have the lower epidermal layer, and in between you will have mesophyll cells. There is a type of cell that fills in inside upper and lower epidermal layer, and you will have a cuboidal cell below epidermal layer, and this cuboidal cell is the site where photosynthesis will happen. The reason why photosynthesis is happening only in this cell is that it contains more amount of chloroplast. Okay, as you see, there are more oval shaped structures, right? These oval shaped structures are chloroplast. You have more chloroplast which are present in this mesophyll cell, and this cell is called palisade mesophyll. The type of this mesophyll is called palisade mesophyll. As you see, these palisade mesophylls are arranged sidewise, like one after the other. They are arranged next to next without
That's
any gap.
cell structure. Agar.
Yes, leaf structure, leaf structure. Okay, leaf structure. And next to this palisade mesophyll, you have irregularly shaped cell. Okay, where they are irregularly shaped and they have more gaps in between. Why do they have gaps? Is because they need to store carbon dioxide, because plants need carbon dioxide for carrying out carbon dioxide, right? I mean photosynthesis, right? So these carbon dioxide taken by plants will be stored in these air spaces. Am I clear? And these irregularly shaped cells are called spongy mesophyll.
Spongy.
Okay, spongy mesophyll. The name of the cell type is spongy mesophyll. As the name, by the name only, it is very spongy and irregular in shape. Am I clear? Okay. And if you see at the lower epidermis, you can see a small gap here. Do you see a small gap here? That is called stomata. What is stomata?
The respiratory hole.
Okay, respiratory hole. Okay, I agree with you. Any other answer?
Many holes mostly found in lower epidermis. Take part in gases.
Okay, so stomata is the small pore, small hole found in the lower epidermis, and it is also present in upper epidermis, but the number of stomata in upper epidermis is very less, or sometimes it doesn't have at all, but the lower epidermis will have more amount of stomata, more number of stomata. Okay, the role of stomata is it is involved in gaseous exchange, because what are the raw materials for photosynthesis? Photosynthesis needs carbon dioxide. This carbon dioxide is coming from the atmosphere, and from atmosphere through this stomata, the leaf will take carbon dioxide and it is getting filled in the air spaces here. Okay, stomata will be like this. Okay, will be like this. Whenever it needs, it opens and it widens the gap so that the carbon dioxide can enter inside. And once it is done, it has got
Closes itself.
all required carbon dioxide, it closes the pore, and whenever it is required, it opens the pore and again it closes. Okay, the opening and closing of stomata is done by another cell type called guard cells, which are next to stomata. Okay, if this is your stomata, which is bean shaped structure, around stomata you have another special type called guard cell. They will be like this. Okay, these are guard cells and this is stomata. Am I clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so what are the requirements for photosynthesis? It needs carbon dioxide, it
Sunlight.
needs water,
Sunlight.
it needs sunlight, and then chlorophyll. Okay, so where does this carbon dioxide coming from? It comes from atmosphere, right? Where does this water comes from? Water comes from soil.
Rain.
Water comes from soil. Plants cannot take water directly from atmosphere. Plants cannot take directly from rainwater because all the structures are closed. Even if you take leaf is completely closed. Okay, even
Take
stomata
through
is there.
roots.
Yes, the only way by which the plants take water is by roots.
Roots.
Okay. And next, this C6H12O6 is glucose, and it is the byproducts of photosynthesis are oxygen and water. Okay, oxygen and water.
Water.
Any doubts in this slide?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So let's move on to the next slide. This is the photosynthesis process. As you see, light falls on chlorophyll. Chlorophyll absorbs light. Okay, and it converts carbon dioxide and water. Carbon dioxide is coming from stomata, water is coming from roots, and chlorophyll is there in the leaf itself. Light falls on chlorophyll and it releases carbon dioxide and it produces sugar, which is glucose. Okay, now plants are making more and more of glucose throughout the day, because throughout the day sunlight is available. Right, as long as sunlight is available, as long as water is available, this photosynthesis is going to be happening continuously. When it happens continuously, it will produce more and more amount of glucose, more than what is required by the plant. So what it will do with the excessive glucose molecule? Okay, if for example we are working very hard, okay, for with the 24 hours, say like I am working for 18 hours, I'm going to get more and more money. Okay, the money which I am getting more in excess, what I will do, I will store it, I will save it, right? I will save it in my bank account for future use. Am I right? Same way,
Yes, ma'am.
plants will make glucose continuously, and if it is producing more than excess, then more than what is required, then the excessive glucose molecule will be stored in the form of starch. Am I clear to you all?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, whenever glucose molecules are produced in excess, the excessive glucose molecules will be converted into starch, and starch will be stored inside their body parts. Okay, where do you find starch starch stored? Say for example, potato. Potato is rich in starch. It stores. Okay, potato is actually a root, right?
Yes, ma'am.
It's a modified structure. It stores starch inside. Am I clear?
Yes, ma'am.
So this is the whole process of photosynthesis. And if you look at this stomata structure in closer view, this is how it opens and this is how it closes. And what makes this stomata open and close? How does it open and how does it close?
Miss Godsell.
Yes, I said it is guard cell. How do guard cells open stomata and close stomata? Is that guard cells, whenever it absorbs water, okay, it swells up. It takes more water inside, water in the form of water vapor. Okay, through stomata, it takes water vapor inside, and this guard cell will swell up. When it is swelling up, it pushes the stomata towards itself. It pushes the stomata towards itself. Okay, so that the opening gets widened and it is getting opened.
Okay.
Okay, when the stomata needs to be closed, guard cells will lose water. When guard cells lose water, the stomata are pulled closer to each other. Like it is like the stomata are pulled towards each other. Okay. Am I clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Then comes the functions of stomata. It is used in gaseous exchange, where it is mainly exchanges gases like carbon dioxide and oxygen. So what happens here? Carbon dioxide enters and oxygen leaves the plant. Then it loses large amount of water during transpiration. Now this is a new term that you are going to learn.
Water.
What is transpiration?
Loss of water.
Process of water loss. Okay, process of water loss, and water will be lost in the form of water vapor. Like how we sweat. Okay, whenever the body temperature is increasing, we are sweating a lot, right? When we sweat, it cools down our body, right? Same way, the plant, when the water level is excessive in their body, they will lose water in the form of water vapor through stomata, and water will get released in the gaseous form into the atmosphere, and that process is called transpiration. Anybody has doubt in the term transpiration? Oh, you're feeling sleepy.
No, miss.
Huh?
No, miss.
Okay. Yeah. So this is the starch test. You studied this in lower class. What is starch test? What is starch test? If you take any food sample
It will
and
turn
put
into blue.
iodine drop onto it, okay, take potato and put iodine drop onto it. When starch is present inside potato, then it turns
Blue
what
color.
color?
Blue color.
Blue black color, bluish black color. The blue black color indicates that the food sample contains carbohydrates. Okay, this is the test, testing a leaf for starch. Okay, the leaf boiled in water to break down the cell wall. Now we have taken a leaf and we kept it in the water bath and we heated the leaf. Okay, second step, we had put the water in the alcohol to remove chlorophyll. Now we have removed chlorophyll, and that's why the leaf has become pale in color. Okay, now when you are doing this step, you need to switch off the Bunsen burner because alcohol is flammable. It readily catches fire. Okay, and third step is you put it in water to soften it. Now you need to soften the leaf tissue. Again, you heat it. Okay, and you take this mixture and put it in the slide and put iodine solution on top of it. Yes, and this is the result you will get. Okay, where and all starch is present, where and all starch is produced, you will get the bluish black color. Am I clear? Okay, so next is the test for carbon dioxide. Okay, investigating the need for carbon dioxide in photosynthesis. So what they did here, they covered the leaf so that they covered the leaf with a polythene bag, and they had kept potassium hydroxide inside. When potassium hydroxide is there or potassium salt is there, it absorbs all the carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. Now this potassium hydroxide will take all the carbon dioxide. Now plants do not have carbon dioxide to absorb. In this polythene bag, there won't be any carbon dioxide. Okay, and after some time, like leave it for some time and take the leaf and you do the same iodine test. Okay, iodine test, if you see, the photosynthesis would have happened very less. Okay, now this is another experiment to prove chlorophyll is also essential for photosynthesis. Okay, now you take a leaf and put it in alcohol because alcohol acts as a bleach here. Okay, alcohol will remove all the chlorophyll. Okay, once chlorophyll is removed, there won't be any positive result. Okay, so now here these are the region where chlorophyll is completely degraded, and that is why they don't show any blue black color here. Am I clear? Only those region where chlorophyll is present, it turned it changed color and showed positive result. Okay, so this is all about autotrophic nutrition, and next is heterotrophic nutrition. Let me just wind up after this. Okay, so heterotrophic nutrition, if you see, there are three types again: holozoic, saprophytic, and parasitic. First of all, heterotrophic nutrition is mean
Organism.
Depends on
those
autotrophic,
animals.
which are depends on
Yes.
autotrophic nutrients.
Very good, very
They
good.
cannot
Okay,
be make food by their own.
yes. They cannot prepare their own food, and they are dependent on other organisms, other autotrophic
That
organisms
autotrophic.
or heterotrophic organisms to derive energy. Okay, so like human,
Animals.
animals,
Animals.
yes, animals.
Birds.
Okay, the And heterotrophic nutrition is again of 3 types: holozoic, saprophytic, and parasitic. What is holozoic in the sense? Animals which are taking food in the form of solid, like how we
Break
eat
down
food.
inside the body.
Okay, we take food in the form of solid, right? We take rice, we take vegetables, all are solids. Okay, we are all holozoic nutrition animals. Okay, example is amoeba and other animals, human, etc. Saprophytic nutrition meaning all decomposers. You heard of decomposers?
Dead and decaying organisms.
Yes, those organisms which are feeding on dead and decaying matter, they are all called saprophytic nutrition. Majorly, all fungi are saprophytes. Okay, most or majority of fungi are saprophytes. They will feed on dead and decaying matter. As you see, mushroom. Have you seen mushroom? Okay, where do you see mushroom growing?
In forest.
Is it you can see only mushroom in forest? Wherever the moisture is high. Okay, if you see any tree with more moisture, and at the bottom of the tree the mushroom will start growing, because the part of the tree where moisture content is more, that region, the plant cells are decaying, because it has absorbed more water. It is kind of swollen up, and it is kind of getting decayed. That is the region where you can see mushroom growing. Mushroom is an example of fungi. Okay, majority of fungi are saprophytic in nature. And next is parasitic nutrition. What are parasites? Parasites are organisms which can live inside the body of another organism. Yeah, somebody is saying something. Yeah, your voice is actually breaking. Okay, I'll continue with parasitic nutrition. Parasites are organisms which live inside another living organism, and they are taking nutrition from the host organism, and sometimes they are disease also. Okay, have you seen parents giving deworming syrup for toddlers? In Tamil, if I have to say, சின்ன குழந்தைங்களுக்கு வந்து deworming syrup கொடுப்பாங்க, பூச்சி மருந்து கொடுப்பாங்க, stomach clean பண்றதுக்கு. Have you heard of it? Deworming syrup? Do you know why they are giving deworming syrup?
வயித்துல நிறைய அந்த ஃபுட்ல இருக்க ஃபங்கைனால பூச்சி வளரும், அந்த பூச்சை கொல்றதுக்காக.
ஃபங்கை கிடையாது, ஃபங்கை கிடையாது. Flatworm, roundworm, all these are worms and parasites which are living inside our body. Okay, and when these worms live inside our body, what happens is that whatever the food that you are eating, they start eating your nutrients. Yes, they start eating all your nutrients. Okay, and child will not grow. Okay, and child will not grow in its height or weight. And after some time, when the worms population is getting increased, the child will stop eating at all, because it will give bloated feeling. Pasiye edukadu. They don't feel hungry at all. Okay, that is the indication. That is the indication when parents will give deworming syrup and it comes out through the anal opening. These are the examples for parasitic living organisms. Okay. So next, we are going to see amoeba as an example. So how do amoeba takes its nutrition, or how do amoeba feeds? Okay, this is the microscopic image, electron microscopic image of amoeba. As you see, amoeba is this. It is an irregularly shaped unicellular organism. Okay, if amoeba finds any solid food here, prey. Okay, if it finds any prey here, it extends its arm. Okay, so what happens is that now it is going to extend its arm. Okay, now it is going to extend its arm like this. And after some time, yes, after some time, it will engulf, it will try to extend further, and it encloses it, and it just, engulfs the solid particle or prey.
Body.
Okay, it just engulfs. And what is this process called?
Yeah.
Endocytosis. Okay, it is either called endocytosis or phagocytosis. Okay, you can call it by any name, endocytosis or phagocytosis. Endo means inside, cyte refers to cell. Okay, amoeba is a single cell and it is taking food inside, and that's why this process is called endocytosis. Yes, yes. Parvesh, yes, that is the same picture I'm showing here. Okay, fine. So what is this arm of amoeba called?
Pseudopodia.
Yes, why is it called pseudopodia?
Because it is the finger-like projections which can digest the food.
Okay, it is a finger-like projection which helps in engulfing food. I agree with that. But why do you call it as pseudopodia? What is the meaning of pseudo? Pseudo means false.
Locomotion.
Okay. Yeah. Pseudopodia is helpful for amoeba in locomotion. It helps amoeba to move from one point to another. But it is not a true arm. It is not a true locomotory organ. Okay, it is just the cytoplasmic extension. It is just like, as you see in the electronic microscopic picture here, it is just getting extended. The cell membrane is flexible where it is extending the cytoplasmic content, and so that it is just engulfing. After it eats food, it becomes normal. Okay, that's why it is called pseudopodia. It is not a true locomotory organ. It is a false locomotory organ. That's why it is referred as pseudopodia. Am I clear? Once it has taken the food inside, what happens next? Okay, it has something called food vacuole. Okay, inside its cytoplasm, it has something called food vacuole, and inside food vacuole, it has all digestive enzymes which will digest the solid particle, and it gets the energy out of it. All the nutrients are absorbed. And now what happens to the metabolic waste materials? And waste materials can be excreted out through the cell membrane itself. Directly, it will excrete all the waste materials. Okay, this is the nutrition or process of intake of food by amoeba. Any doubts?
ಅಮೀಬಾಕ್ಕೆ ಮೂಚಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಿದೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಇರುತ್ತೆ.
Okay. Any doubts? Okay. So next thing is nutrition. So these are the different types. I'm just going to quickly review this, and I'm going to wind up the session. Now this is the nutrition process. First is ingestion, like we take food through mouth. Okay, and then digestion, we break down complex food substances into simple substances. Like for example, if you take protein will be converted to amino acid. And then absorption, all the nutrients that are digested, like glucose, amino acids, fatty acids, glycerol, all these
What
will be
are the
absorbed by our
proteins?
body. Okay, and next step is assimilation. Assimilation meaning all these nutrients will be distributed throughout the body cells. Okay, throughout the body, all these nutrients need to be transported. It is not just required for our stomach. It is required for our toe cells. It is required for our head tip cells. Okay, all nutrients need to be transported to all parts of the body. That is called assimilation. Next is egestion. All the it includes the removal of all metabolic and nitrogenous waste materials through anus. Am I clear? Okay, we call something called alimentary canal. Alimentary canal starts from mouth and it ends with anus. Okay, and this is the this is the alimentary canal, as it starts from mouth and it ends with anus. Okay, and the first part is mouth, which is helpful in intake of the whole food, and teeth is helpful in chewing and grinding of food. Okay, because if we don't chew properly, okay, some children, they don't chew properly, right? So what happens because of that? They just swallow the food as such without chewing. So what happens is that their digestion will not happen properly, and when they eject all the solid material, all the rice particles you can see in the stool. You can see in the motion. Okay, you can see the rice particles in the stool. That is just because the digestion is not happening properly. Okay, chewing is very essential because that mixes and breaks all the complex food substances into smaller ones. It is helpful in grinding. And tongue, it plays a very important role because tongue rolls such that it mixes the saliva with the food. The saliva, okay, the mucus substance or the liquid substance that is found inside the mouth, the saliva contains the enzymes required for partial digestion of food. Okay, as I told you, inside mouth, the partial digestion of food is happening. Okay, for which tongue is very, very important. Okay, and it is also helping in swallowing of food. And salivary glands. Salivary glands is present at the bottom. I mean, there are three locations where you can find salivary glands. Okay, below the tongue, and here, and you will have at the base of the tongue. Okay, you will have 3 salivary glands present in our mouth, and that secretes mucus, and that also secretes saliva, that also secretes amylase enzyme. This is very important key term, salivary amylase, because this amylase is the one that will break starch into maltose. Okay, what is the role of amylase? It breaks starch. It breaks starch into maltose. Starch is the complex sugar. Maltose is, it is a simple sugar. Okay. Next is esophagus, which is a long tube, as you see in the picture. This is esophagus.
Throat.
Okay. From throat. Okay. Yeah. From throat, it extends up to stomach. Okay. And the movement of food through your esophagus is done by peristaltic movement. This peristaltic movement is like, as you see in the harmonium box. Have you seen harmonium box? You will have this zigzag arrangement, right, in the harmonium box. Likewise, this esophagus will have all these zigzag muscles. They will compress and expand. When it compresses, it pushes food downward. When it expands, the food would have gone into stomach. Okay. That movement is called peristaltic movement, which includes the contraction and expansion of esophagus muscles. Okay. So next thing, gastric juices. It includes pepsin. Pepsin is one of the enzyme which breaks down protein. HCl is involved in keeping the food in acidic condition, and it also kills all the bacteria that mistakenly had been ingested, and mucus also been secreted by gastric juice, the stomach. Small intestine, complete digestion of carbohydrate, fat, protein will happen, and it is connected with pancreas and liver, which secretes additional juices, additional enzymes, which will secrete all the enzymes, and enzymes will convert the food nutrients into simpler molecules, okay, and nutrients. And amino acids and glycerol will be absorbed by villi. Villi is like finger-like projection found inside the small intestine. If you have the small intestine like this, the villi will be like this. It is like small finger-like projection. Okay. And then comes the large intestine. Large intestine is this, where it absorbs only water. It doesn't do anything. It absorbs only water, and directly, all the solid waste will be sent out through anus. This is all about nutrition in human. Do you have any doubts? So this is a part one of life processes. So the class is over for today. If you have any questions, you can ask me.
Ma'am, does plants move, ma'am?
They don't move. They don't move.
Then it is a living being, no, ma'am.
It is a living being. I told you, the convincing factor. Plants show movement inside their structures. Okay, inside their structures, like they conduct water. And if you see plant gametes, like the pollen, some of the plant gametes, they are moving. They are motile. They have flagella and all, so they will swim in water. Okay. Any other doubts, guys? Okay, so feedback. Do you like the class? Alvin is just nodding your head. Oh, thumbs up. Thank you, guys. Thumbs up to you. You made the session very interesting and very interactive. Thank you so much. Roshni
ma'am.
claps for me. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Students, see, we are conducting regular classes like this science class. We charge only rupees 500 per month for any subject. Those who are interested, you please register in our website goforguru.com/live. Okay, we will conduct classes every week. Okay, those who are interested, please register yourself. Thank you, students. Thank you for joining. Thank you, madam.
Thank you, sir. All the very best to all students. Thank you so much.